welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something complex. The world of modern construction. Think huge projects, tons of teams, data everywhere, and, well, communication nightmares that cost a fortune. Our mission. We're doing a deep dive into how AI chatbots, those things you usually associate with like customer service, are actually becoming kind of like mission control for managing projects and keeping everyone in the loop in construction. If you've ever been involved with or even just observed a big construction project, say a new hospital or skyscraper, you know the communication problem. It's not just tricky. It can be genuinely disastrous. You've got your architects, engineers, countless subcontractors, the clients, regulators, everyone needing info like now. And it has to be right. It's just one crucial request, an RFI they call it, gets buried in email, or some paperwork takes weeks for a sign-off. Boom, delays, cost spiral, happens all the time.
Right. And that kind of chaotic communication environment, it's actually perfect for automation to step in. What we're seeing, what the sources really highlight, is AI chatbots becoming that connective tissue. They're designed to cut through the noise, the silos. They aren't just, spitting back answers. They're automating the whole communication flow, making sure every single stakeholder gets real-time updates, keeping everyone aligned.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit, because AI chatbot here, we need to be clear, right? This isn't the simple FAQ bot on a website. What kind of day-to-day admin stuff are these smarter systems actually lifting off the shoulders of project managers who are, let's face it, pretty highly paid?
Yeah, good question. You can basically break down the core functions into maybe two main buckets, immediate answers and let's call it smart routing. So on the immediate answer side, they just handle the sheer volume of repetitive questions. Think about how many times someone asks, where's the latest floor plan? Or who's the contact for the mechanical engineer? The chatbot just handles that instantly.
That sounds small, but I bet if you actually added up all those minutes, a PM spends just redirecting simple info requests over a whole year.
Oh, it's huge. It really is. And the second piece, the smart routing, that's arguably even more critical for keeping things moving. So say a contractor sends in an RFI about, I don't know, structural steel specifics. The chatbot doesn't just blindly email the main engineer. It routes that query intelligently, maybe based on the specific project section or even the part of the 3D model it relates to, and it tracks it, until there's a proper time-stamped response logged.
Ah, the RFI focus. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a massive bottleneck. And the strategic value, it's not just saving time, is it? It's that 24/7 availability you mentioned. Construction's often global or runs in shifts.
Absolutely. That round-the-clock access is a game changer. A human PM needs sleep, right? The AI doesn't. So if a team, maybe overseas, needs clarity on a material specification at 3 a.m. local time for the head office, they get it right away. That cuts down hugely on that dead time, just waiting for information. That waiting time is a major source of inefficiency on big builds.
Okay, so if the AI is handling that constant churn of admin, the status checks, the routing, scheduling updates that frees up the actual human teams, the skilled engineers and architects.
Yeah.
So what's the strategic shift? What are they doing instead with that recovered time?
Well, it leads directly to better high-level decisions. That's the key takeaway. By automating the routine stuff, the project teams can actually focus their limited brain power on the real challenges. Complex problem solving, finding ways to save money through value engineering, dealing with unexpected problems on site, not just playing traffic cop for information. And there's more. This tech enforces a truly seamless flow of information. It's not standalone. These chatbots plug right into the existing project management software, think scheduling tools, financial systems, and really crucially, building information modeling BIM. That integration is vital. It means every communication, every answer is tied to the latest project data. That drastically cuts down on errors from people working off old info.
BIM, right? I was waiting for that. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, for anyone listening, because connecting to BIM that moves this beyond just a communication tool, it becomes like a data analysis tool too, doesn't it? How are these bots actually talking to those complex 3D models and the massive data sets behind BIM? Can you give us a really concrete example? Like, how does it work on the ground?
Sure. Think of the chatbot as an intelligent front end for the BIM model. Let's say you have an HVAC contractor, they're on site, and they need to know the exact vertical clearance for a duct run in, say, Zone C, Level 3. Instead of flipping through pages and pages of dense spec documents or complex drawings, they can just ask the chatbot, naturally, like using text or even voice. The bot understands the question, queries the live BIM data, pulls out that precise measurement, and might even send back a little visual snippet or a schematic view directly from the model showing that exact spot.
Wow, okay, that's not just answering a question. That's instant context-aware data retrieval right where you need it.
Exactly. It's verification on the spot. Cuts out hours of potential cross-referencing, and more importantly, prevents those really expensive installation mistakes.
Yeah, you can see how that prevents errors. And this kind of deep integration, it must be what powers the predictive side you mentioned, the
Mhm.
advisory part. That feels like the real AI bit shining through.
Absolutely. The sources really stress this shift-moving project communication from just reacting to problems to proactively mitigating risks. The chatbot isn't just sitting there waiting for questions. It's predictive because it's analyzing the current project status against historical data, loads of it.
Okay, tell me more about that historical data connection. How does the AI know the difference between, say, a minor supplier delay that happens all the time and is no big deal, versus one that, based on past projects, is likely to completely derail a critical phase and cost millions?
It's about pattern recognition, really, and kind of a weighted risk scoring. The chatbot's been trained on potentially thousands of the company's past projects, so it learns things. Like supplier X has a 70% chance of being late with steel deliveries in the last quarter of the year. And it also knows, historically, when that specific component from supplier X is late, it causes at least a 5-day slip in the foundation work that follows, like 90% of the time. So when the tracking system flags a potential delay from supplier X for that component, boom, the chatbot flags it instantly. But it doesn't just send a basic alert. It might also suggest what worked last time. Initiate backup sourcing from supplier Y now, or maybe reschedule the MEP submittals for next week to absorb the potential gap. It turns simple reporting into immediate, actionable advice based on data.
That ability to advise based on past successes
Mhm.
or failures, that's genuinely transformative, isn't it? And while that predictive capability helps avoid future problems, what about managing issues that pop up right now, like change orders? Those are always a headache in construction, right? Financially, legally.
Oh, change order management is a classic example where internal streamlining is crucial. The AI bot can manage that whole tangled workflow. When someone, the client, the site manager, requests a change, which obviously hits the scope, the cost, the schedule, the bot immediately kicks off the necessary approval chain and makes sure everyone who needs to sign off, finance, engineering, the client rep sees it and digitally signs off in the right order. This keeps the actual work flowing, prevents people from doing work that isn't approved yet, and crucially creates this perfect up-to-the-minute audit trail. That's gold for compliance.
Okay, so we've covered amazing efficiency gains, that 24/7 access, the deep BIM integration, predictive risk management. Sounds incredible. But
That'd be good.
whenever we talk about AI getting this deeply embedded, handling sensitive financial data, proprietary designs, especially in a super competitive industry like construction, we have to talk about the guardrails, right? The risks. What challenges came up in the sources around, say, security?
Security is, well, it's absolutely paramount. It has to be. You've got these bots handling everything from, like you said, secret architectural designs to detailed cost estimates and private client schedules. The stakes are massive. A breach isn't just embarrassing, it could mean losing competitive bids or facing huge financial liabilities.
And the bot is often talking to external parties too, right? Subcontractors, suppliers.
Right.
The attack surface feels pretty wide.
Exactly. So the solution involves really sophisticated data partitioning and strict access controls. The AI has to be rock solid at verifying who's asking and only giving them the info they're actually cleared to see. So the client might get budget summaries, but the electrician installing lights only sees the schematic details for their specific task. They absolutely do not see the company's internal cost models or historical profit margins. And beyond security, there's this huge technical challenge around accuracy. You mentioned it earlier, but it's worth stressing.
Right, because if the AI gets something wrong, say a material specification,
Hmm.
or the load-bearing capacity needed for a beam, the consequence isn't just a data error. It could be a compliance failure, or worse, a structural failure.
Precisely, which is why deploying this successfully isn't just buying software off the shelf. It demands a serious ongoing effort to train and fine-tune that AI model. It has to be trained specifically on that firm's historical project data, understand their typical complexities, their regulatory environments. This is a big organizational lift. The chatbot needs to grasp nuances like the difference between a local city building code versus an international standard and give the right answer for that specific project every single time. That training takes time, costs money, but you just can't skip it. It's non-negotiable if you want people to actually trust and use the system for critical decisions.
Which raises that important point, doesn't it? It's not just about having the tech. It's about dedicating the resources to make sure the intelligence is genuinely reliable enough to underpin multi-million-dollar choices. So let's pull this all together. What does this mean for the future of managing construction projects? We started this conversation talking about, messy email chains and playing phone tag. Now we're discussing highly controlled, predictive coordination.
Yeah, the synthesis seems pretty clear from the sources. AI chatbots aren't just some future tech trend anymore. They're becoming embedded workflow tools, real engines for how work gets done. They're fundamentally changing stakeholder management. How? By drastically boosting efficiency, ensuring everyone's working off the same real-time information, and actively cutting down project risks using those predictive insights we talked about. It's really a shift, isn't it? Moving the industry away from reliance on manual oversight and towards more automated, data-driven control.
Yeah, the days of relying purely on someone's memory or shuffling through stacks of paper to coordinate building a massive, complex structure, those days seem numbered.
I think so. For construction managers, adopting these AI-powered communication tools feels less like an option and more like a necessary step towards building smarter, faster, and crucially more predictable projects. The firms that figure this out first will just have a major edge.
That shift you mentioned, from reactive problem solving to predictive avoidance, that's the bit that really sticks with me. And it leaves me with a final thought, maybe for you, the listener, to chew on. If this integration of historical data for real-time, AI-driven decision-making works so well in construction, using past failures to prevent future ones, what other complex, high-stakes industries, maybe ones drowning in communication delays right now, could use this same kind of deep AI chatbot blueprint? Think about, say, global supply chains where one hiccup cascades across continents, or maybe coordinating large-scale disaster response efforts. The lessons learned making construction more predictable. Maybe they're the key to managing chaos in other fields, too.